Check it. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rick Noda here, host of T3 Talks and founder of T3 Body, where we tighten, tone, and transition. Today, we're going to talk about post-care or post-tapering before Potato Chip Mountain, which is, again, this Saturday will be at Lake Poway or Potato Chip Mountain. 2 times. We will be departing to go to the summit at 6:30 a.m., and then the second group will arrive at 8 a.m. to then group together and then leave up on a more leisurely walk or hike. Just like always for all my YouTubers, go ahead and make sure you hit that subscribe button there for me. Subscribe button for me, and then go ahead and give them that thumbs up, you guys. I want to tell everybody that part of the post-race talk is getting your body ready the night before. But it is summertime.
But these are my recreation clothes.
Nacho! No, now, so as summertime comes out, I am in Southern California, so I will bring out the shorts. And those shorts, again, in a typical uniform fashion, there is no difference. I've got a black shirt on with gray shorts, or I would have my gray trousers. Again, I don't want to think too much about it. But pre-prepping for tomorrow, pre-potato chip, I want to protect my gut a little bit. We're going to heat up that core temperature. So one of my athletes went to Del Mar to a company I love that makes cold press juices and energy shots. And this one right here is called, it's a power shot. I love it because it's got lemon, ginger, turmeric, and juices. And I want to thank the people there at Beaming for that. I'm going to set a nice little base layer here. Yeah, there's no chaser there, you guys. There's no need for that. So that base layer, pre-potato chip, I set a little bit of that. It keeps the gut nice and good. It gets my body and my stomach feeling good. Let me talk about the 2 types of preparing for a hard day of training, or we consider in the endurance community a race taper. So why do you rest, you guys, before a hard effort? Well, there's a lot of science that goes behind it. As a coach, I explain it just like this. We rest with anticipation of starting to go to those higher training zones that we have only touched throughout the durability and the capability phase. Those are those high zone 4As and at times zone 5A, depending on terrain. Remember, zone 4A, you're barely saying about maybe 1, maybe 2 words. 5A, that's why we've been doing 30 seconds worth of efforts here at the studio so that we can get used to that changes. But so what's the difference between a race taper and preparing for a hard day? Well, let's start with the hard day. I hear a lot of urban legends about having to carbo load. Now, what is carbo load? As you could see there, it's literally shoving stuff in your mouth, getting as much carbohydrates in. That's kind of that's a half truth, because in order for it to work properly, guess what you have to do? You have to not eat carbohydrates for about 15 to 20 days or deprive yourself of those carbohydrates so that the day of the race or the day before, when you go ahead and do that carbo load, that you can actually use that energy there for that race. Now, people will do this where they're not doing carbohydrate depreciation and stuff, and it's effective of giving you a big fat belly of carbohydrates, just going ahead and having difficulty sleeping. You see how I say that? Again, huge amounts of carbohydrates, if you haven't trained the gut to absorb them, can actually be a bad thing for you. So when you're preparing for a hard day, what I recommend is just don't change anything. If you eat good food, protein, carbs, and fat, and you're eating your diet, all I ask you to do is maybe eat 1 extra meal, or maybe increase your protein. Again, using that serving size. If this is the amount of protein I normally eat, let's add double the amount of protein, because we know that we're going to need some extra calories. That hard day begins with maybe putting your feet up a little bit more at work. Maybe when your coworker asks you to go for that lunchtime walk, maybe not that day. You may say, hey, you know what? I'm going to have a hard effort. Ensuring that you get a good night's sleep also kind of helps. But that's just for a hard day at the office or a hard day going up potato chip. And most of the social and the novice athletes, that's pretty the way that you're going to do it. But when I'm coaching remote athletes, those in Denmark, Mexico City, Pennsylvania, in Las Vegas, those are athletes I have, you guys. When they're getting ready to do their Ironman or half Ironmans or their marathons, we normally get to about 2 to 2 weeks before their race. And that 2 weeks before their race, I have loaded them up with the point where they're literally
barely walking around
because they're looking for some rest. So they go from huge amounts of volume. Some of them are training almost 18 hours a week. And guess what? I take that 18 hours and I can cut it in a quarter or a half. And then you start to train 10 hours and your body starts to recover. You start to feel your body starts to regenerate. All that tissue that starts to heal. So then the 3 or 4 days before the race, you kind of light that candle a little bit. You go nice and hard again for short periods of time. And then the day of the race, you're nice and relaxed. That body is firing. You trust your training. You trust your plan. And you trust yourself. Now, what's kind of nice about those 2 tapers there is here at my studio, I instinctively do that. Because when we're working on that capability phase, we do potato chip every 5 weeks. So literally, I start to that right when we come off that 5th week. That first week is a little bit hard, but the next weeks are starting to get harder and harder. And this week, right before today, I've got my athletes literally just taking a nice brisk walk today in anticipation of Potato Chip Mountain. Those athletes, some will go, some won't go. But the nice part is that we're transitioning from what we're doing in the classroom out to the real life. If you're a tennis player, hockey player, or an adventure racer, that is the way when I talk about good coaching and what coaching should be able to do is really kind of help you with your lifestyle. Speaking of helping me with my lifestyle, I want to show a little bit of a modification I've made to the Yeti. I went ahead and went with a little bit of the straw, you guys, because I've noticed that my Panic and Coffee as I'm driving down the street and I want to get that goodness, sometimes it's spilled. And what's so nice about these shirts and why I wear them during Potato Chip is because look at the storage capabilities and look at the ability for me to carry stuff but not necessarily have to have it hanging on me. It could be in a pocket. So when I say our motivation inspires you to be better, Panic and Coffee, thank you so much. And watch the straw. I know I'm classy. I'll see you guys soon. See you at Potato Chip tomorrow, you guys. Rick Noda, host here at T3 Body, where we tighten, tone, and transition. To get a hold of me, check me out at info@T3BodyEncinitas.com or on our social networks, Instagram at T3BodyEncinitas, Facebook, we're still under that CaliFit WKO, that's our non-for-profit, and check us out and subscribe on our YouTube channel, we are T3 Talks, where our motivation inspires you to be better. See you at my next podcast.